Hello, it's a beautiful day, and you are here with your number one craft coach in Ghana, Ijoma Duru, the CEO of Nabella Couture. Today, I'll be showing you on how to craft this beautiful hat training headpiece. You can see it comes in different colors, and you can use your fine craftsmanship to get it designed just the way you want. This is a new fashion trend in the millenary world, and I'm so excited to be sharing my knowledge of this course or this design to you. Relax as we craft this beautiful headpiece together. First, we'll be needing our mold to make our hat base. This hat base is made out of cinnamon. I will be using 3 layers. These 3 layers helps us to have the right thickness we need for this hat base. We'll be covering the cinnamon hat base with a lace material. You could decide to use any kind of fabric material to work on. If you don't know how to make your hat base, I will indulge you to take up our millinery course on Millinery 101. That is for beginners. Now we'll be applying our UHU glue around the hat base in order to wrap it beautifully with the lace material. That's the front. So make sure the front is sitting out. You do the east, west, north, and south rule in order to get a perfect finishing. Right now we are going to be tucking in the lace material. Tuck it firmly, making sure that there is no folds. You could decide to use a peg to hold it uprightly. You tuck it in nicely, making sure no folds. It should be firm and smooth. Trim off excess material. Now we have it all trimmed out. This is our base. And our base is made out of acrylic material. And for this base, I'll be using 18 inches. 18 inches wideness. It depends on the size you want. But for this base, I'm using 18 inches. We have as big as 22 inches. So it depends on your client's specification and design and color also. It is a two-faced color. You see the front and the back are the same color. For this, it's 22 inches. So it depends on how wide you want it and design. I know you'll be wondering, where did she get this hat base from? Or where can I get my hat base? Relax. You can get it from any shop or outlet that makes 3D signage. You would have been seeing all this around you. Even those in the US, in the UK, Nigeria, you see all this around. It's all about you entering into the shop and asking them where they got it done or any signage, and you get your base. So now for this hat base, it always comes in wrapped this way. And we have a base. For the measurements, I'm going to guide you on how to go about your measurements, because you have to explain to the person handling the signage what you need. Now this is our base of 7 inches. Make sure when you are making the centerpiece, it's lesser than your hat base. For this is 5.5. Remember, my hat base was 7 inches and here is 5.5. So it should be at least a minimum of 1.5 or 2 inches less. So it sits just on the mold right that way and not bigger. So you see, it's sitting on top of the mold. So don't go make your cycle 7 inches and probably your base is 6 inches. No. Where can I get my patterns? Type on Google Floral Lotus metal cotton die. Yes, that is where you can get your patterns, and you can decide to also customize your patterns using an architect. But in that Floral Lotus cotton die on Google, you'll be able to see different patterns like this, and once those patterns are gotten, they are sent to the designer for its specification. Just like this we are creating now, you can see I sent it to my designer and gave him the specification I wanted, telling him the center piece should be 5.5 inches and the outer piece should be 17.02 or 17 inches, and this was what he came up with. And you can see that is what was cut out like this. Now it comes on a paper form. This is to protect the surface, and we are going to be peeling it out. The paper it was wrapped with, this is just how all should come, so that when it's being transported it doesn't crash. So now we are done peeling it out. Like I mentioned, it must be a two-faced. The gold always are exceptional. The gold sometimes come one-faced. All you have to do is to get two pieces of it and you sandwich. But for this, you can see it's two-faced. The front and the back are the same. Now we are going to be placing this on the mold. How do you join? UHU does not accept this because it's kind of plastic or thermoplast. So what do? Hot glue also won't work. But we are going to do something about it. And what's going to be that? We are going to sew fishing line. Wow, fishing line. So how will it be pierced? There is no hole in it. How? So what we're going to do now is to introduce our drilling machine. Yes, this drilling machine can be got in any craft shop, and we're going to push holes very close to the tips. We're going to be making punches very close to the tips. This is going to aid us in sewing this piece on our hard base, and I'm here to show you how to sew this neatly without any difficulty, so that at the end of the day your work will be neat. Nabella Couture, our hallmark is neatness. So when crafting, make sure your works are always neat and you don't have to be seeing glue stains all over your workpiece. It makes it out of place. So now you're going to be drilling this very close to the tip. Be mindful of how you drill so that it doesn't tear off or otherwise. It has to be very close to the tip so that the sewing will be very easy. Can you see how close the drilling are? Just close to the tips. So when you are sewing your hard base, it's going to be very easy and invisible. So you continue that way till you have it all drilled around. Now we are going to sew our workpiece together. Taking our fishing line and our needle, this is our needle, it should be a slim needle so that it will be able to pass through the drilled hole. And here I'm using 0.40 mm. You could also use 0.35 mm. Your fishing line shouldn't be too thick, too big, and it shouldn't be too tiny. Now thread your needle. I'm going to use just one line. I'm not doubling my rope, no, just one. And I'm knotting the edge of the fishing line. We'll cut off the excess rope. Now we are going to sew. Remember that our hard base are always bigger than the holes on the acrylic base. Therefore, while stitching, you make sure you position the base properly so that one side doesn't move out of place. It just have to be right there at the center. Don't be bothered about this. We are going to do the finishing after sewing. Just watch carefully how I'll get this stitched. Make sure the needle comes out just in front of your drilled hole. You may decide to use UHU glue, but please, I beg, it won't last long. Please take your time to sew. Take your time to sew. You may decide to use the hot glue or whatever glue you might find that might stick. It will never be as permanent as you sewing. In craftsmanship, you want an everlasting result whereby your clients could wear it for years and they will still recommend you, saying, oh, the hat she made for me years back, I'm still rocking it, it's still fixed well, nothing has fallen off. Not the one you use glue now. The person is dancing in the party and you see it falling off. So you continue stitching all round till it's properly fixed. Make sure it comes out just in front. That way the stitches become very invisible. So we have it all stitched, and I'll be showing you how to end your rope, end your fishing line. You pass it through that end, you bring it out, you take it back, and you make a knot. You tie it together. For me, the tying, I always tie. I tie very well because I don't want any excuse. Because most times if you have clients outside the country, you see it passes through a lot of processes before it gets to them. The DHL might not handle it nicely. It falls off. Sometimes some people want someone to bring it to them, and if it's not handled nicely or carefully, you see before the thing gets to the person, the heart base is one side, the acrylic base is another place, and you're wondering what happened. So take your time to sew, please. So we have it all sewed out, and we are cutting out the extra rope after stitching. So you notice our stitches was all around these edges, if you notice. Next, I'll be showing you on how to make this feather for your centerpiece. So you could decide to make any feather you like to put on your hat base. It's also going to be unique. So you could decide to do the pony flowers, any kind of flower feathers you want. You can even decide to add artificial flowers, but no problem. But for this course, I'll be showing you on just how I made this. So I'm going to be using the cinnamon as my hat for the base. Be using the cinnamon for the base and also my feathers. Yes, I bought this feather this way. I'll be dropping the vendor list, but if you're out of the country, if you're out of Ghana, you could get it on AliExpress or out in your craft shop. We'll be using our UHU glue. You could also use the hot glue, but I like the UHU glue. This is our rhinestone balls. I love those balls. They are so unique and outstanding. And this is 80mm wire. I'll be dropping the links of where I got all these materials, so you could also shop from them. So I'll be using that as a template to form my circle. So it all depends on the size of the circle you want. Mine, I want it quite big, so I'm using this. You could decide to make it smaller. You use a smaller circumference, make it bigger, a bigger circumference. It depends on what you want to do. So I'll be tracing out the circumference on my siname, sorry. You can notice I doubled the siname just to give it the thickness I want. You could also use felt. Yes, a felt could work, or leather, but I love the siname when I want to use it for my base in making flowers. So cut out the circle, trace out the circle, try getting a perfect circle, because that will help you in making your feathers flower. Make sure it's a circle. It should be circle, not square. Yeah, circle. So we're using our UHU glue. From time to time, we'll be adding up the UHU glue on it when it dries. So let's get it crafted. Let's get our flower crafted. Yeah. So now we are going to be cutting our feathers. So this is called duck feather. This feather, they call it duck feather. Yeah, when you go to the craft shop, they call it duck feather. You could decide to use any kind of feather that you feel comfortable to work with. But for this, I'm using the duck feather. So I'll apply my glue around the base I cut out. Then the next thing is to stick my feathers on them. So watch carefully how I did this. So one thing with these feathers, I don't know whether it's here in Africa or, but most times these feathers, they don't come nice. Nice in the sense that when you watch some videos online or you see all this brochure, you see how fine their feathers are. So we'll be measuring 3 inches. That is the length we want to use, how high we want our feather to be. You could go less, you could go more, it depends on you. So here is 3 inches, and we're going to use our stretcher to heat set the feathers. So what we're trying to do now with this stretcher is an electric stretcher, is hot, yeah, is to heat set the feathers so that at least it comes in place, it sets, and also to give it that curvy shape. Also. So we're going to stick it to the base. Make sure it's at the center and repeat the same thing, 3 inches, and we are sticking. Now you're going opposite of it. No, it has to be opposite of the first one. Yes, that way. So this way it gives you a perfect circle when you do it this way. So now I'm talking about these our feathers. Why do they bring such feathers to us? I don't know. Most times the feathers are all scattered. Like you have to select and select before you get a nice one to work with. God help us. So you continue anyway. You continue selecting. Make sure you're selecting the nice ones out of it. Selecting the nice feathers. And when I say nice, you see those feathers that really come together. Like it's not open. They are really compacted. Yes, those are the kind of feathers we are looking for. So you see how it is. So you continue that way, filling it up with the feathers.
Inside of me, in this desert, I can look at you with love, seeing all that I can learn. Can you stay and I will grow there.
So you make sure you rearrange them, making it sit properly. Your hand could be messy, but it's no problem. It's part of the craftsmanship. So as you can see, this is sitting on top of this. This is sitting on top of that. That's how your arrangement should be. This sits on top of each other. So now watch how we're going to be making this in form of a 3D. We don't want our flowers so flat. So we're going to make it look a bit puffy up. And this is what you do to make your flower looks like a 3D or 2D. And not just lying down there flat. So you see, when you do this, you cut, you turn, it gives it this puffiness and makes it stand out. So you can see this is quite fuller than this. So we're going to be going around again just to give it some fullness.
Change it, change it. Seeing eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees inside of me. In this desert, I can look at you with love.
So next we'll be covering the back. We can't just leave the back this way, no. We'll be using the feathers also to cover up the back so that the cinnamon or whatsoever base you use won't be showing. Kindly note that it's advisable to use the same color of base as the same color of feathers. For instance, if you're working with green feathers, whatsoever base you should use should be green color. Because I'm working with a gold and white, I could decide to use a white base or a gold base. So be very mindful of that. Don't go use a white feather and you're using a red base. Definitely you will be seeing a little traces of the white or red or whatever, the abstract color. You surely be seeing a little traces of it, and we don't want that. So make sure you stick to the same color of feathers, to the same color of base for making the flower in particular.
Seeing eyes of mine, what do you feel beside? I don't know where we're gonna fly like you did sometimes. Seeing eyes of mine, love, 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 I wanna be strong.
So we have it all done now. Next I'll be showing you on how I fixed that balls in the middle. We'll be using our wire. So just cut out a reasonable length. I found out that my length was quite long. I used 32 inches here, so you could go less. You could go less. you could go less. So just get but I always prefer the wire being more than being not enough or not adequate. So yeah, I measured 32 inches. You could decide to go 20 inches if you so wish. Yeah, I was using 32. You could decide to go 20, and I'll be fixing the balls to it. So just watch how we fix the balls.
Seeing eyes of mine, what do you feel beside? I don't know where we're gonna fly like you did sometimes. Seeing eyes of mine, love, 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 I wanna be strong, strong. We're doing wrong, 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 but I'll try to fix it. Love, 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 I wanna be strong, strong. We're doing wrong, 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 but I'll change it, change it. Seeing eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees inside of me. In this desert, I can look at you with love. Seeing all that I can learn. Can you stay and I will grow? Grow the hanging gardens of Babylon. Love, 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 I wanna be strong, strong, strong. We're doing wrong, 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 but I'll fix it.
Here we have our feathers ready to be used on our hats. Can you see how beautiful it is? It's already giving the work a different look entirely. So you get it fixed. You just can decide to make 3 of it, 4 of it. It all depends on you. For us, we're going to use just 2. That's why we make it a bit bigger, so it could be smaller and more. All right, so we'll be fixing our Alice band. For this one, I used a medium size Alice band. You could decide to use a big size. It depends on your client specification. Some clients don't like big Alice band, and we'll be using our 0.40 mm fishing line. I'm going to use just one line, and we'll be fixing something to this place. Guess what it is? An elastic. Yes, you could be having some complaint as a milliner from your clients. Oh, I was dancing, and this headpiece fell off. It's not firm on my head. Probably they changed their hairstyle. But my sisters and my brother, yes, we have also male milliners, I'm telling you now that you could use an elastic to save the day. This is an elastic. It's going to hold firmly to the person's head. And in this elastic, I'll be measuring 9 inches. I'll be measuring 9 inches. It's kind of my standard measurement when I'm attaching it to an Alice band. I measure 9 inches. And I'm going to cut it out and sew it on the Alice band. So watch carefully how I get this sewn. I left about 1 inch, or you could leave half an inch. You pierce the needle into the elastic first before putting it on the Alice band.
Inside of me, in this desert, I can look at you with love, seeing all that I can learn. Can you stay and I will grow? Grow the hanging gardens of Babylon. Love, 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 I wanna be strong, strong, strong. We're doing wrong, 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 but I'll fix it, fix it. Love, 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 I wanna be strong, strong, strong. We're doing wrong, 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 but we'll change it, change it. I would like to tell you mine and my street.
So when you're done sewing, you see this part, you could decide to add a little hot glue to it and you stick it there, ensuring you cover up your stitch. So you see your stitch shouldn't be so bulky as to maybe start affecting the person's head. It should be firm. You have to stitch firmly and also tight, okay? And we'll be repeating the same process for the next side. So we have our elastic ready to be placed on, or I mean under our work. It has to be placed at the center there. But before that, we have to do some finishing there. We have to finish it, and we'll be using the siname also. I see some people using trimming. Sometimes that trimming is okay. I know some people do that. Maybe they are having shortage of their siname thereabouts, but I prefer using the siname whenever I'm doing my inside finishing. Sometimes, or like say when I see people using the trimming, it kind of weighs me off. But anyway, it's all about choices, though sometimes you are left with no option. Probably you miscalculated your work. Maybe when you were crafting, you thought you have enough siname. That's why you have to end up using a bias or something to do your finishing. But that's cool. But for this, try to use a siname. It makes it more nice and unique. So we'll be folding it. And note that this bias was cut across the grains of your siname material. Just in case you don't know how to do your base or code, you could take up the course. We have it, Millinery 101. It's a beginner course. It shows you more about how to make your base, your siname strips, siname flowers, and thereabout. We actually have over 35 online courses, so you could feel free to DM me for links on other courses we have available for sale. So you can see how I'm making this siname bias strip to be curvy. You are going to notice what will happen after I'm done doing this. Can you see? Automatically it has formed a circle, so you don't even need to stress yourself when you're trying to put it inside. You see, it becomes so easy for you to handle. You don't need to stress yourself trying to get it curvy.
I would like to tell you my endless dream. I would like to go with you into the street. Please don't deny your love makes me feel alive. Love, love, love. I wanna be strong, strong, strong.
We'll be using the UHU glue. Please don't use the hot glue. Use your UHU glue to smear on your bias. I want to show you something. You can see here is open. That place should always face down, while the sealed part should be top. Carefully, you place it. You should leave about quarter an inch before the brim. Then you go round, and this is our finished work. You see how neat and beautiful this is. Don't you see how perfect this looks? Enticing, beautiful. That's what it is. So that's what we're going to do now, is to fix our band. So I'm going to show you how to fix your band on the hat base. Okay, so we'll be using a standard measurement. Those who know Nabila Kutono, we love measurements. So we're going to be going 5, 6. Anytime I'm making a headpiece, I want to take by the side. I start taking my measurement. I take 5 inches and 6 inches. So I have just 1 inches between them. Can you see? From the tip here, 5, and that's it. Then I'm going to put a little hot glue. This is just to put it in place. I could decide not to even use the hot glue. I could get it perfect, but because I'm doing a training, so for those that are beginners, you just put a little hot glue there. Look for the back where your stuff ended should be at the back. Then you place it just right there at the middle. Right there at the middle, and you leave it for a while so that it gets cool and become stiff. My dear Nabila Koto, we are going to sew, so let's go get this sewn. We are not just going to leave it there with the hot glue. No, we can't take that risk. Please, let's try and do some sewing. So using your fishing line again, I'm using 40 mm with your needle. Yes, your big needle. Where to get your big needle? Go to all these hairdressers. All those kind of long needles they use. Yeah, that's what you should use. It helps you do your stitching properly. So I'm going to be stitching this, and take notes when you're stitching. Be very mindful, especially the top. You just have to pinch it. You pinch and you move. You pinch and you move, making the top so invisible. They shouldn't see your stitches at the top. So as if you're taking 1 or 2 grains on the top as you move. So when you stitch, you're going to turn the rope across the other side, making sure it is firm. Can you see how the rope is crossing over on the band? Yes. So that's how you're going to get it stitched, making sure you pinch the top. You pinch it, you move, you go across, and you continue that way till you get it properly stitched. You see, you're going across of the band. This way is firmly secured. It's firmly secured. Can you see how it is now? We are free to position our feather just the way we want it. Yeah, so it's time for us to position our feathers. We're almost done with the set piece. I think this is one of the simplest set pieces to make. So now we're going to put our band. But you know what? We don't have holes over there. The holes are so far apart. So what are we going to do? We're going to use our drilling machine again to punch some holes on it. So these holes will just aid us on how to sew the flower to it. Please don't use the glue. Try to sew. Normal sewing, just the way you tack a button to a cloth. This is just how you're going to sew this feather to the headpiece. Just as a simple sewing, just how you tack a button to a shirt, or a button to a blouse, or a button to a outfit. This is just how you're going to sew this flower to it. Now you already have holes on it, so it's going to help you on moving your needles. We have it sewn, but you see we have some holes spaces around. So what we're going to do is just to fill up those spaces with more feathers. So watch carefully. See the way I'm stretching this. I'm stretching it in the sense that I want it to be very curvy. You can see the feathers are very, very curvy, like a semicircle. So that way it's going to just sit there and fall back. So when it sits and fall, it's closing up those spaces over there. You could decide to put any other thing there. You could decide to put quill. You can spice up your work just the way you want. The essence of this online class is not for you to go ditto what Nabella Couture made. I always love it when students comes with a feedback. Oh, madam, I took up your course and this is what I created. I created my own unique piece and it's quite different from also what they did in the online course. All they needed was just to get the technique. It always amazes me. So you could twerk, and you are not fixed on just making this design of the acrylic base. No, if you're very good with architecture drawing, you could decide to design your own piece so that it's not out there in the market. It's just for you alone. You could draw it, take it to the designer, tell him this is what I have in mind, how can you make this for me, and definitely they're going to make it for you. So can you see how neat, beautiful this looks? It's so lush, it's so beautiful and neat. That is the most important thing. Neatness is key in crafting. That place, we won't leave it like that. When we're talking about neatness, how do you expect us to leave that? No. We can't just leave that way. So we're going to be using the cinnamon again to cover it up. I see some people using felt. You're also okay when using, but once you're going cinnamon, try to make sure everything goes cinnamon. For this place, I had to cut about 6 inches, fold it in this way just to make a base, and we're going to be using it to cover up that area where we stitched so that they won't see our stitches. So thank you so much for joining this course. I really appreciate it that I've been able to impact this beautiful knowledge to you. And thanks for choosing Nabella Couture. Nabella Couture is an handmade crafts company or business where we teach and we learn how to make handcrafted pieces, and we also have a service. We also provide the service of making the pieces also, and also training students. I really appreciate you and I can't wait to see what you are going to do with this course. I am just eager and waiting to see the creativity that this course is going to birth. I am so anxious to see it. And I love you all for choosing Nabella Couture. I really appreciate that whenever I put out a course there, you are always willing to come learn, because you know no idea is always hidden from you. Once we say we are going to teach this course, we go all out to open up the secrets of this to you, and I truly appreciate it. Kindly also note that this video should not be shared. This video shouldn't be shared to your friends or to your colleague. Please don't share this video, or don't say because I bought it so I can now use it to make my own business. When you are caught, I'm going to persecute you, because Nabella Couture, we are already registered. We've registered this company. So please and please, this video is solely the property of Nabella Couture. Thank you for watching. Happy crafting.
Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful day, Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, Thank you for painting this a beautiful day.